All right, welcome back. We are back and we're live here for another episode of the Ragni Show. I have, I'm going to say he's my good friend because he's back. He
That's
thought
right.
it
Two
was good
times
enough to
in.
come back. Two times
What an
in.
honor to be back. Thank you so
You gotta
much,
love
brother.
it. Let's welcome to the show Mr. Pete Evick. You might know him from the Bret Michaels Band. You might know him from playing acoustic shows throughout Virginia and surrounding areas, Maryland, etc. Or you might know him from his candle company. Take your pick.
Or a lot of things. Actually, I've been taking the acoustic act out on the road this month. I was out all the way out in Iowa last weekend. We were in Illinois and geez, where did we go? We started in Green Bay. We've been to North and South Carolina, Georgia, and then this weekend we're going to Long Island, Connecticut, and the Boston area. So it's me and Chad right now from Faster Pussycat, and we're out doing the acoustic rock show, and we're taking it all over the country. We're going everywhere.
When I saw you guys start doing this, I was like, how the hell did this happen? Where did this come from?
So I've known Chad for 20 some years before I was in Bret's band. Actually, he was playing drums with Gilby Clark.
Okay.
And my band was opening up for Gilby, and then Chad was in LA Guns for a while. But the night that we played with Gilby, Chad got up on stage with us and jammed a Van Halen and a Kiss song, and we've been buddies ever since.
Nice.
So normally Bret plays all the way up to Christmas Eve, and Faster Pussycat usually plays all the way up to Christmas Eve. And both bands took December off, and wasn't what me and Chad wanted to do.
You can't stop the rock, right?
You can't stop the rock and roll. That's right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
How about you? How have you been, man?
Definitely not stopping the rock either, because it's nonstop. Freaking, I think me and you are the perfect people to do this. How can we extend a day from 24? I think 28 hours would be more suitable for us.
What would you do with those extra 3 hours? Would you sleep or would you do more shit?
More shit.
That's right. That's right.
Being honest, more shit. More shit.
You know, one of the planets, is it Venus or Mars, or one of the two planets has a longer day? Have you ever heard about all that?
No. Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's one of those two planets has a 27 or 28 hour day, and there was this whole conspiracy theory about people like you and me that go more than other people, and how maybe we're hybrid aliens from one of those planets or whatever. And that's why our clock is like that.
It makes total sense now.
You get it, right?
I get it. That's it. That's hysterical. So is this just going to go through this week? You guys going to do more in the new year?
So originally, this thing was supposed to be with Eric Brittingham and me and Chad.
Okay.
But then Eric had a couple things he had to take care of. It was his idea to originally book these dates in December, and then something happened, and me and Chad were like, well, we're going to go do them anyway. And it's been so well received that I actually just got a text from Chad that says, hey, if that guy in Tennessee wants to do a date in January, let's make it happen. So I think we're going to keep going.
There you go. Is it Nashville by chance in Tennessee?
No, it's closer out to the western border. Like it sits on what borders Tennessee? What's the state that borders Tennessee?
Kentucky,
all the way on the phone. Yeah, it's out kind of on the border between there.
Okay.
So I forget all the cities and stuff like that. I just go, man.
What? It's funny because now, like, where growing up we would be like looking at a map. Now you just plug that address in your phone and away you go.
You know what? I think about this all the time. I was in a touring band traveling before MapQuest, let alone GPSs, right? I don't remember how we got the fuck to places, man. Like there's a picture of me from 30 some years ago in New Orleans on a payphone. And I know clearly that day I was calling the club owner saying, how the fuck do we get to your club? And it's like anybody that's out there touring right now has no idea how lucky it is just to have that GPS on their phone, man.
And without cell phones too.
That's right. That's right. I remember when we first got the first cell phone, and the whole band would pay for it, and we would have it in the van for any of us to use. It was for all of us, and the band would pay for it for any kind of emergency call or whatever we may need. But it was like it was like a lifeline in a lot of ways.
The old bag phones.
Right. Or we never had the bag phone, but it was the Motorola's that were kind of big. Do you remember the?
Oh yeah.
Looked more like military walkie talkies than what we know as cell phones now.
Oh man, so that's cool. So like, what are you guys doing? Like, songs from you and Pussycat, or just a hodgepodge of like your favorites, or?
Actually, it's something something that I've done a couple times throughout my life, and I love doing it. And Chad agreed to go with me on this and do it. Is I like to do this timeline scenario that tells the story of my life by music. So we start with 1978 and Kiss.
Okay.
Right. And we do one song from every year that was crucial in the development of my life in music. So, 1978, we do Love Gun. And then 1979, we do Ain't Talking About Love. 1980, we do Shook Me Night Long. But then we get into the pop stuff too. In 81, we go to Tommy Two-Tone, Jenny, 8675309.
Nice.
And then
okay.
And then in 82 we do Hungry Like the Wolf, and we do Men at Work's Laying Down Under, and we tell stories. And I put Chad's put a few songs in there so that the story coincides with him. He's 51, I'm 50, and we have the same exact history. We were both started at music very, very early, and we just take it all the way up to like 92 or 90, we maybe 94, and we just tell stories, but we only do songs that truly, crucially impacted our lives. It's not like we're just jamming covers because we think this song is fun. Each song has a story as to why we are doing the song.
I'd be very curious to hear what these sound like, acoustically.
Yeah, some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. It's fun. It's fun. We do Why Can't This Be Love from Van Halen acoustic, and in my brain it's amazing. No one's come up to me after the show and said, man, that was the greatest thing of the night. So I'm not sure it's the right thing to do, but the story is what's important. And and Chad sings that song, and it'll blow your mind. He hits every one of those notes. Man.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, Chad's voice is incredible, man. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, have you ever been to See Faster Pussycat live?
Yeah, of course.
All that backup vocal stuff, Sam, man. Everything.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
And we do House of Pain. Cool. And it's funny, we do House of Pain, and I sing House of Pain. And when I listen to the record, I don't really realize there's a harmony going on there. And then when he started doing it with me, I was like, oh, fuck, that's huge and big. And it's a lot of fun. And he sings a Prince song called Never Take the Place of Your Man off the Seven Signs record. I'm so sorry. I don't I forget, Seven is the name of the record, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But he sings that. It brings the house down every night. And he does You Might Think from the Cars. You might think I'm crazy. It's awesome. Yeah. But then we do.
It sounds like it's a good time.
It's a good time. But we do Cry Tough from Poison. We do Shake Me and Gypsy Road from Cinderella. So it's not like, on certain nights we do Bang Your Head from Quiet Riot, depending on how my throat feels. That's not, Kevin DeBro's not easily impersonated, and we do this really neat, one of my favorite parts of the night is outside of the hair metal genre. We do Runaway from Bon Jovi, and we do this super, super cool acoustic version of it. But we do a version of "Run to You" from Bryan Adams. I'm a giant Bryan Adams fan. That early Bryan
Nice.
Adams stuff was great, great rock. But we do this
Yeah.
medley where it's Uncle Tom's Cabin into "Run to You," and before it's over, we're playing Another Thing Coming from Judas Priest, and we morph it all together seamlessly. It's awesome.
Now, when you guys like put this all together, start putting this together and all, is there like rehearsals or anything, or is it just like, let's go out and wing it?
we I've done all of these songs myself, except for the Cars and the Prince song. And then the first night of the tour was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we met the night before. We hadn't seen each other in 9 or 10 months before that, and we met with each other, and we thought we were going to rehearse, but instead we just started telling stories and drinking. And we went over probably eight or nine of the songs, and then the next morning he was like, "Let's do that Cars song, You Might Think." And so then I ran back to the hotel room and learned that real quick, and we rehearsed it at sound check. But no, there's no. We're winging it, man. Both of us have been playing music since we were
Awesome.
8 years old, and we've been on the road and professional players for 36 years. Each of us 36 years of our life. If we can't wing some of these songs, we're not playing Rush. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's not like we're not doing a set of Dream Theater or anything like that. So yeah. And there's a few rough spots in it, but we laugh. And again, it's been well received. We've only done 6 of the shows. We've done 6 so far, and every place we've been has asked us to put a date back on the book and come back. And everybody, all the fans have been excited, and there's a lot of buzz on the internet about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not putting 2,000 people in the club. It's acoustic gigs and bars. But everyone's having a blast, man. You should come. Fly out this weekend. Come on up.
I would love to. That would be amazing.
You
amazing.
Got some kind of plans this weekend, don't you? I was just reading on the internet.
Actually, no. So I don't know if you know, I used to be a professional wrestler.
I do know.
Okay, so there's a huge wrestling convention in Philly this weekend, and I was reached out to by 3 different promoters. They were trying to do this big Dudley Boy reunion because it has not been done. Yeah, it hasn't been done since the 90s. We haven't all been together in the same room. So 3 different people reached out to me. I gave them my prices and all, and they were like, "All right, you're in. Help us get in touch with the others." And I gave the contact info for the other brothers, but they can never get it all together. So,
how did you get into that?
I believe it or not, my backup plan in life, if I didn't make it as a rock star, was to become a professional wrestler.
Is that true?
Dead true.
That's great.
I sold my Marshall half stack. I sold my American-made BC Rich Custom Mockingbird and got my down payment to go to wrestling school in September of 1990. And
what was the goal?
I thought at that point I would get into wrestling, and the guy who I met who was in the business and was telling me like what he was making. Like he was wrestling every week. He worked his full-time job, but he was wrestling every weekend at that point, and he was getting paid like $300 a match. So I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
So I guess because let me give you a little bit of preface this. My mother lived and died for the WWF.
Okay.
Every Saturday or Sunday morning or whatever it was, my house was filled with the TV Rare and with Andre the Giant and Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Hulk Hogan and all this stuff. And I forget where the first WrestleMania was, but they broadcasted it live across like high school gymnasiums around the country.
Yeah.
And my fucking mother made me go with her, man. There was nothing. And I was into it too, but my mom lived and died for it. Wow. She loved it, man. At the point where Hulk Hogan was at one of our shows earlier this year, and I had the chance to sit and tell him about how big of a fan my mom was. He was very, very cool
That's
guy.
awesome.
I don't know if you ever run across him or whatever. But my question to you was, when you're starting in wrestling, and I don't know enough about how the ranks work, but was the goal to end up in Vince McMahon's world? Is that how that?
I
Is that the?
never I mean, a lot of people think that. I never thought I would get to Vince's world just because, especially at the time of the '90s, the guys were so big. You know, like Hogan's 6'6", and
Yeah, yeah.
everybody was in their 6 foot. And I'm like 5'10" on a good day, so I never thought I would get up to Vince world. I thought I would get to like WCW. I did think that. I thought I could get there.
I was the entertainment one night for the live spring break edition of the WCW Nitro.
No shit.
Panama City, Florida. I think it was 1998. They brought in the whole rig and they did it at this club in Panama City, Florida called Club La Vila. And Ricky Rackman was hosting at that time, if
Okay.
you remember. And
No
we
way.
were the live band that night. I did that for
That's
my mother.
funny.
She'd already passed away. I remember thinking that this was her proudest moment for me.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. You'll appreciate this then. Uh, I got to wrestle the first time they tag teamed together. There was a new tag team that was formed. It was Jimmy Snuka and his old arch enemy, Don the Rock Morocco.
That's
So
amazing.
we I'm a rookie. It's my first year in the business. You know, I walk in, and it's a TV taping for early ECW, the first set of TV tapings. So we're in the locker room, and the lineup gets posted in the locker room. And me and my partner go over, and we see, and we're like, and we look at each other, we're like, oh shit, Snuka and Morocco. So
Right.
we go over to them. We're like, hey, we're working you guys tonight. What are we going to do? Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. This was like 2 hours before the matches. Hour later, we go back. Hey, what's going on? What are we gonna do? Nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're at the curtain, getting ready to go out to the match. We're like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on here? They're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We get out in the ring. The referee comes over and says, jump them before the bell. I'm like, oh shit. So they get in the ring. They turn their backs. We jump them. I get paired up with Snuka. Pete, he turns around, he grabs me by the forehead. He goes, "You dumb motherfucker!" I said, I'm dead. He's gonna kill me in the ring in front of everybody." I thought I was dead.
Right. That's a man. And he wasn't as tall as some of those other guys, right?
Nah, he was about 6 foot.
Well, yeah, but not
Yeah,
like you said. I think Hogan's 6'4", 6'6", or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
they say he's 6'6", but he's actually like 6'4".
when I was a kid, again, they brought the WWF to my county fairgrounds, and I was in the back when Andre the Giant pulled up, and he put his hand up on the windshield of the car while he was looking out, and I put my hand up to the windshield, and my hand was like this compared to him. It was unbelievable, man.
That's wild.
So
That is so
do you
wild.
consider that, did in your brain, did you succeed as a wrestler? Do you feel like you got where you wanted to go with it?
Nah, nah, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
So why
And you know
not?
what? I'm very happy and okay with that because I know if I would have ended up going further, I would have been one of them ones that probably wouldn't be here because I was getting so wrapped up in it. I mean, it was like living like a rock star.
Sure,
When I
same
hit that
exact
point
thing.
in ECW, yeah, I was just out of control and partying like a lunatic. And if I would have went
Right.
any further, it wouldn't have been good for me.
I got you. I often think about that. I I stumbled across, fumbled across the music business till I was, 30 years old, doing what I did at a professional but not superstar level, like
Right.
with Bret. And I often think, had that been handed to me in my 20s, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like when you're living, I'm not Bret, you're not Hulk Hogan, but
Right.
you're invited to the same parties, and you're when you're once you step inside that circle, behind the curtain, everyone treats us all like we're equals. I mean, and
Yeah.
everything's for free, and whatever you want. is right there, I would have died without a
Yeah,
doubt.
it really is a scary thing. Like what happens and what goes on, and people don't realize. Like they hear all the stories and they really can't, like I guess, comprehend or think it's real. But you
You
know,
can't comprehend until you see it. You can't comprehend.
yeah,
There's nothing. No, there's no story you can tell that even if it sounds amazing. It's just like watching Star Wars on TV and a lightsaber looks super cool on TV. I bet you if you see one in real fucking life, it's a lot different.
right.
So same thing. Backstage party compared to Star Wars lightsaber. There you go.
Too funny. It's the truth though. It's yeah, understand why so many get caught up into it and get lost, or we
Sure.
lose them altogether.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Shame.
glad. I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad we're here today.
Absolutely. Now we can laugh about it and have some good music stories to talk about, and
There you
you can rock for us.
I didn't realize in the past that you had been an aspiring musician yourself. I'm sorry that I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
So what was that? Like I know this story is supposed to be me being interviewed, but I'm interviewing you now.
Yeah, I
There
know,
you go.
right? I wanted to be I wanted to be there was a band out of Philly which was like my favorite band called Tease. I wanted to be like a cross of them and like Pretty Boy Floyd. I wanted to be that pretty boy,
Yeah,
glammed
yeah, right.
out, wild on stage, like Poison and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I wanted to do like Poison but heavier, like what Pretty Boy
sure,
Floyd
sure.
was. But yeah, and I was always a heavy
Well,
guy. So I got to the point where like me and a bunch of my friends. Here's a funny thing for you. Me and a bunch of my friends were going to. We were all fat guys, and we were all musicians. So we were going to do the Fat Bastards in spandex.
hey, you know what? So I've never been the thinnest guy in the world. I remember wearing spandex, and my mom was be like, "It doesn't look right on you. You got to stop." But but to your point, that there same thing happened to Pantera, but they figured it out.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, if they one day looked at themselves and went, they love it. I mean, till the day Vinny died, he came out to our shows. I saw Vinny a couple weeks before he died, and he'd get out on stage and sing nothing but a good time with us and play the cowbell along
Wow.
with everything. He was appreciative of the music. There's video of him and Daryl up on stage with Warrant at Castle Donington in front of like 100,000 people singing Down Boys, but they knew that they didn't look that part. And
Yeah.
so and look what they did to the world. They changed it.
What's your thoughts on this Pantera
I
reunion
walked
celebration?
myself. I walked myself right the
You
fuck
did.
into that.
You did.
I've avoided this question in almost every interview.
Come on.
Um, I think Phil's a douche.
Oh, okay. This is good.
I think Phil's a douchebag, and um, Vinny was my friend, not
Mm,
not an acquaintance. Vinny was my friend.
right.
I actually have right here. If you could see that,
Yes.
that Vinny and Dean Guitars gave that to me. It's a 10-year anniversary of Dime's Death model
Wow.
guitar, and they gave it to all the Dean players. That because I've been a Dean guy for 20 years or whatever, but and Vinny was great, and Vinny was a great producer. He understood the studio, and me and him were friends. He was great to my son. He was great. I think that the world deserves to celebrate the music.
Mm,
I believe that the only person that should be allowed to do it is Zach Wild,
yeah. Agreed.
and uh, Charlie Benatti. Maybe it could have been Mike Portney. Maybe it could have been Mickey D. Uh, there's a handful of people. Charlie's great for it. Charlie's great for it. Um, I'm glad that people are going to hear it because the Pantera stuff was. I remember when I was a kid, I was young enough that when I heard Van Halen for the first time,
Hmm.
I wasn't blown away. Like, as I got older and learned, friends of mine that were maybe 10 years older than me tell this story about hearing Van Halen and going, holy fuck, that doesn't even sound like a guitar.
Right.
Right. But I was playing it. I was born in 72. I was playing guitar by 1978. And I was only, what, 6 years old. And by 7 years old, I was already exposed to Van Halen. So I was too young to go to not under. It was just another great band. My ears
Yeah.
were so fresh, you know. So I loved it, and from the day I heard it to this day, they're my favorite band. But I didn't understand the intensity of how hard it was because I started with it. At
Mm.
7 years old, I wanted to know how to play Eruption, and
Right.
these, and, you know, and so I never experienced that whole thing of, you know, you know, I didn't already play guitar, so I didn't have to relearn how to play guitar.
Hmm.
That's what
Hmm.
most people had to do with Van Halen, was
Yeah.
relearn everything they knew. I never experienced that with him, but I experienced it with Pantera.
Okay.
Pantera is the only thing I've ever heard in my life that I went, I don't fucking know how to do that. I
Wow.
don't even, you know, don't get me wrong. I love Steve Vai, and I can't play like Steve Vai, but when I
Hmm.
hear it, I know what he's doing. I go,
Yeah.
oh, I know what's happening. I could figure that out if I really wanted to sit down and figure it out. When I heard Pantera the first time, I went, what the fuck is that? How do you even make that sound with a guitar? Which has to be what all them felt about Van Halen. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I respect what he did and what they
Hmm.
did as a team. Just like Alex and Eddie, they were brothers, and
Hmm.
they that chemistry between the two of them. It was the same exact thing for a different generation, and um, it's good that the world's going to hear the music.
Yeah.
But I think that Phil's a douche, and I hope he does it right. That's all I can say is I hope he does it right.
Thoughts on Rex at all?
I don't give one shit about that guy. I don't I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't not know him. I know he was a bass player in Pantera. Me and Vinny never once had a conversation about the guy. I don't
Okay.
know anything about it personally. I don't know that he did anything on bass that was mind blowing. Maybe he did. I don't know. So I don't have an opinion. But I'm glad that there's multiple living members of the band. If it, I think that I like it better that he's there. I think if it was just Phil, I might be a lot more angry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And who
Look,
am I, dude? I don't know.
and we have
I don't know.
somebody. Somebody
Oh,
agrees
we
with
got
you.
people watching.
Flapperball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flapperball. Phil is a douche.
Yeah. And again, I've never met him, so I shouldn't judge like that. But I knew somebody that knew him really fucking well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So
There you go.
a question I'm been dying to ask you since this has happened is actually, and you mentioned a little bit, especially since we talked now about the relationship with you and your mom with this wrestling thing. Um, your son this past year put out his first single, so I wanted to
He
know,
did.
like, yo, Dad, what was that like? How did it come about? Were you like, I don't know if you want to go down this road, or
Did you by any chance hear or watch the single at all?
of course I did.
All right. So um the truth of the matter is I my heart wanted nothing more than for him to not do this.
Okay.
Um, I know what it's like.
Hmm.
And my son is a great kid with a great sense of family. Um, and and it's a different world, but he got bit by the bug, and and he means it and he feels it just like I did.
Wow.
It's his life now. Um, I I just know the pain of, and I feel worse for my kid because I grew up in a world where there were record sales. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Um,
Exactly.
he's young, he's a good-looking kid, and he has some charm. And maybe that's what's missing. Maybe we don't. I've said for a long, long time that even with the bands like Buck Cherry and Greta Van Fleet, and we're still missing that David Lee Roth, or we're missing that Bret Michaels.
Missing
You know
that
what I
rock
mean?
star.
And maybe my kid can be that, because let me tell you what, he took vocal lessons from Tony Harnell.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
He's been around me my entire life. He has spent hours on the phone with Tom Kiefer, because
Okay.
he loves Tom, and Tom has coached him how to take care of his voice and not avoid the problems Tom has had.
Hmm.
He's had his entire life spent with Bret. You know what I mean? Stephen Piercy has taken time to be kind to him. All the guys in Warrant, all the time. He has relationships with these guys now outside of me, right?
Right.
It's not just my son anymore. He goes all over the country to see Warrant, and he hangs out with
You were
Rodney
saying that
Crane, and
last time we talked. Yeah.
yeah, and everybody's in his corner,
That's awesome.
so he has a shot. But he truly believes that he wants to bring back what we do. He wants to.
Love
He
it.
thinks that he can open to the masses and restart it for his age group the way that Van Halen opened up the doors. He thinks he can do it. And man, just believing is part of it, right?
Absolutely.
Just believing is
Absolutely.
part of it. He's already conquered it. Like all of my friends and all the guys and girls. He goes to that M3 festival now.
Hmm.
And the first 2 years I took him to it, and he went the year that we headlined it, and then 2 years after that I took him to it each year, and he was always amazed when we would walk in the crowd. He's like, "Oh, Dad, everybody knows you." When I'm from there, though, like it's in Maryland. I'm from Virginia.
Yeah.
It's you know, uh,
Sure.
and now when he goes there, everybody knows him, and he's living it. He's living it. The one thing that me and Gavin, one thing I can't seem to get through his head is that the first song is great. It's a love song, and that's another thing that not a lot of the new rock bands do. They don't come out. There's not a lot of that power ballad, but the power ballad
Hmm.
was the thing that drove the 80s.
Yeah.
Everyone talks. All these bands, these young bands are like, "Oh, we want to be like Motley Crue, Livewire." Well, Livewire wasn't really a fucking hit. Home Sweet Home
No.
was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so Gavin hit hard with the power ballad right off the gate, and I think it's solid. But he's trying to. We're working on a second song, and what he wants more than anything is Nothing But a Good Time. He
Nice.
wants that for his generation, right?
Hmm.
Here's the fucking problem. His generation doesn't fucking work. Like the song's about hating your job and can't wait till Friday, and getting up early in the morning. Gavin came to me. And I'm selling my own son out, but I'm telling you the truth. Gavin came to me with this lyric about waking up at 6 a.m. being the boss man's pissed off at him. So very similar, Nothing But a Good Time lyric, right?
Yeah.
I said, Gavin, you work for your fucking father and you come to work at 4:00. You can't sell this. You know what I mean? You can't, but he feels it.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because that might be a big part of like what's missing is, in the generation and times that we grew up, there was that, especially the us against them. It was the
Right.
kids against the adults and the authority and stuff like that. And, the PMRC situation. And
Right.
it was like rock was truly the enemy and the bad guy. And we were all like sticking up for it. And it was us against
Right.
them. And today there's none of that going on at all.
No, because parents and kids all like the same music now,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I do believe that song is there. It's just not about getting up and going to work early. I keep stressing to Gavin, that you need to find the message to your generation, not the message to my generation. Find that thing that is that important to your generation and write about it. And so he understands that and he thinks about it a lot. Let's just hope we get there with it.
I think you will. I think you will. I love. I mean, that's such a just a real thing. The way it should be. It's got to be real. It's got to,
Yeah.
and
he
the fact
knows
that
it.
you had to, yeah, but the fact that you were able to call your son out and not be like, yeah, you know, go ahead, keep going with this, and you were like, no, this is no, you go to work at 4 o'clock for your dad.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, I forget what your original question was. Oh, it was just how do I feel about it? I
Yeah,
was horrified by it. But you know, it's the age old thing. How does Ozzy tell his kids not to do drugs? The last thing I could do is tell my kids not to pursue this because I never had any other fallback. There was nothing. I just did this. So, and as far as they're concerned, it worked out for me. So why wouldn't, my youngest son doesn't show any signs of interest with this yet, but we'll see.
the key word there was yet.
Right. Because my youngest son's only 16. Gavin didn't catch the bug till about 17. So, like, I'm watching my youngest son these last few months, like, making sure, like, if I see him, like, about to put on some music, I turn it off or something. Just don't even try to keep it from happening.
That's funny.
You get it, though.
I totally get it. So let me ask you, you, though, new music-wise, you put out a few songs over, I guess, about the past year. You had the My Best Day single, the cover of 99 Luft Balloons. Anything you got cooking in your little factory over there of music?
I do. I have writing My Best Days really kickstarted my fuel for wanting to make music again. I have 3 or 4 new songs. I just haven't had the time to sit down and make them great yet. But I have a song called Counting Down the Minutes that I've been working on. I've had the idea for almost 10 years, and I think I have an incredibly clever lyric. And I've always had the first verse and the chorus to it. And over COVID, I was able to finally piece together the whole lyric. It's a much heavier song than Best Days. It's not a metal song, but it's a hard rock song. It's very more in the vein of Appetite for Destruction's era Guns N' Roses stuff.
Okay.
And then I have a song called One of These Days that I think the lyric to it and the message is genius. But in all honesty, in my head, it's a full blown country song. So you know what? I'm just gonna hopefully after the first of the year, or maybe the week after Christmas, I'm gonna lock myself away and try to hash at least those 2 songs out and then go from there.
Would you do it as a country song the way you're hearing it?
Well, yeah, because I don't fake anything. I don't, I'm hearing what I hear in my head, and it's a very much a polished, almost Kenny Chesney-ish type of song. But I produce records the way I produce them, whether they're Bret's records, my records. I just mixed a song for a band that Jason McMaster's in.
Okay.
I've mixed a couple Trickster records before, and they all sound like there's cohesiveness to my work as a producer. So even though it may have a country feel to it, it'll still have those big rock drums and guitars. I'm sure it'll end up that way. The lyric and the message is just more of a country message.
Gotcha.
But I'm from Virginia.
You get a pass. You're allowed to sound that way.
That's right. I laugh. You'll get this, man. I tell this story a lot because you're from Philly, right? So when you're from Virginia, we're right here in the middle. To you, I'm a redneck and a hillbilly. But to anyone from North Carolina, South Carolina, I'm a Yankee Northerner. Like, I don't have my own identity. It depends on where I'm at. And that's Virginia and Maryland. Once you get to where you're at, you're Northerner, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? And so it's a real interesting thing to be from right at that Mason-Dixon line, so to speak.
I'll tell you what, the thing with Virginia, like when I was driving back and forth from Philly to Nashville for 2 months before I came here every week, I would just, when I would get down into Virginia and get on that 81, I was just
Yeah,
like, oh my God, like 6 hours on the same road. I was
just death,
yeah,
straight nothingness, and fog sometimes when you get down to the bottom. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh boy. So the big announcement also came out from Bret recently. The Party Gras is happening
Party
in
Girl,
2023.
tell me your original thoughts. Tell me what you thought when you heard that.
It sounds like nothing but a good time.
Did,
I mean,
did you?
seriously.
So Brett has had this idea for a long time, and the idea is much bigger than this. Is just the beginning
Okay.
of the model, and Live Nation bought into it, but the way it goes right now, we have two opening acts. We have Jefferson Starship,
Hmm.
and we have Night Ranger, and
Hmm.
Night Ranger's so fucking good, man. Um, and then within our set, Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray will join us, basically join our band for 3 or 4 songs.
Wow.
And Steve Ajari, former lead singer of Journey, will be
Hmm.
joining us within our set for 3 or 4 songs. And
Wow.
then we're going to have another guest every night that is a successful, credible, famous musician from whatever area we're in. You know,
Is
or
that going to be
somebody
a surprise, or is that going to be
it's,
announced?
it's supposed to be a surprise, but Brett can't keep his mouth shut. So he announced the Party Girl thing a week earlier than Live Nation told us to. He can't contain himself with anything. So as we confirm who those guests are going to be, because right now we have lists of people from every city, and we're trying to figure out who can do it and what works and where. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my point to that is this is a trial idea for, if you notice all the advertising, it says Party Girl by Bret Michaels. And the concept is eventually we may not even be there. The concept is a tour that will run every year, but eventually it'll be 6 or 7 different artists, and the set never changes. The drum
Okay.
sets never change. There's never a changeover. There's constant music for 5 hours, and the guys it'll be one band playing, but the different singers or artists will come out and play just their hits. And,
Hmm.
so if you're a pop music fan that likes hit music,
Hmm.
this is for you. If you want to go see Bon Jovi play all the obscure stuff, this isn't what this is about.
Yeah.
This is coming and hearing shit you heard on the radio. And
Hmm.
it's to Brett, it's not about the bands, it's about the songs. The whole
Right.
show, and that's why everyone we've had a little bit of conversation about why Starship, but we played Starship opened up for us one night pre-COVID, and me and Brett were standing outside, and we knew every song. Like when you think of Starship, you think of White
Hmm.
Rabbit or We Built This City, right?
Yeah.
One of the
Hmm.
two. And song after song, there's a song called Jane, Lay It
Hmm.
on the Line, Sarah, We Built
Hmm.
This City, No Way Out. And they were all actual giant radio friendly songs.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I know that song. So getting a band to go on early and has nothing but that many radio hits is a little bit of a challenge. They're San Fran boys too, and they agreed to do it. I think Night Ranger being on the bill was a big deal to them, and it's a great deal because once you get in that building, there's not going to be 1 minute that anyone turns to somebody and goes, "What fucking song is this?" You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And that's what it's all about to Brett.
I mean, it does sound like a great time. It really. It just.
He has big plans, man. He's going to do like the Hagar thing, and we're going to have tiki bars on the side of the stage, and we're going to have people on the side of the stage drinking and partying. We're going to have karaoke contests out in the atriums and stuff. And It's a whole day planned. And he's just always Brett's always dreamed of this, man. He is a constant host. I know he's a rock star, but if you come to his house, he won't let you out of his house until you've had the best time of your life. Whether it's eating a steak dinner or sitting down watching a movie, he doesn't want to let you out of your sight until you've created a memory. You know what I mean? And he fucking means it. He means it with all his heart. And he's been wanting to do this for years. And the success of the stadium tour, he waited and waited and waited. He played it smart. And the stadium tour happened. And you read the reviews, man. They won. Poison won.
Every night.
Hands down, every night. And he finally had the moment. And he went to Live Nation and he said, "This is my idea." And here we are.
All right, let me ask you a deep question now about the whole thing of the stadium tour and everything else. When something like that happens, especially when you hear, and I don't care who you are, because like you said, I heard the reviews. Everybody that followed the stadium tour, fans of those bands, heard every night Poison was the best band on that stage every single night.
Every night, man.
Every night.
There wasn't one night that didn't happen. Yeah. So what's the question?
So the question is, do you ever, when you hear that, it's like, yes, all right, I'm happy for Bret, great, but do you, in the back of your mind, or do you get scared or nervous, like, oh shit, like what happens if like Poison decides to go back full time and I'm out of a job?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm at a point in my life, in my career, where I don't need to hide anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Our fucking band is so much better than Poison. And CC's an incredible guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
CC's an incredible guitar player. And CC wrote those songs.
Yeah.
He wrote those songs. And they're one of my favorite bands of all time. But as a band, our fucking solo band is great, man. And we have all these vocals, and it's big fucking sound. And Bret likes our band. Bret likes it. You know what I mean? So Bret's the one that decides. Poison doesn't go, "Hey, we want to go on tour." Poison calls and asks Bret, "Do you have time to go on tour?" I mean, that's the fucking truth, right? And that's what it is. But we work. Let me rephrase that a little less cocky. We work in symbionts because Poison does not want to tour the way Bret tours. Bret likes to be out not 9 months a year. Poison likes to be out a couple months, and they enjoy the rock star life, and they enjoy celebrating who they are. They wrote those songs. The fact that I said that our band as a whole is a better band. There's a million better bands in our band in every corner of the street. So that's not what I mean.
Sure.
Poison wrote those songs. I get it, but I don't fear anything because Bret loves playing as a solo artist. He loves doing what we do. There's a time and a place for every single thing. And I don't fear it. Poison has its place. They'll go back out in 2024, maybe 2025. But I was happy to see it. Don't get me wrong. I get happy when they go out. And you know, a couple of years ago, where was it? Charlotte. I didn't even tell Bret I came, and I went as a fan, and I bought 2 tickets, and I sat out in the lawn and watched Poison play in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I waited till it was over, and I texted him when I left, and I said, "Great show." I showed him a picture of the thing and said, "Great show." And all the respect in the world to CC DeVille. He's a brother to me. He has done such kind things for me and my family, and I respect him as a guitar player. So just incredible, an incredibly cool dude. But there's no fear. I know where Bret's heart is, and I know that there's room for both of us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I mean, and it's not just you. Like, and I'll say this one. Like another one who I think to myself, like, damn, I wonder if he's going to lose his job. Is Phil from Bon Jovi, because there's rumors going around of Richie coming back. It's like,
That's
you know
not
what
a
I mean?
rumor, buddy. It's not a rumor. But I was just having this conversation. Me and Chad and another guy were just having this conversation. And it's funny. Hugh McDonald's a friend of mine from Bon Jovi. We're buddies.
Hmm.
And part of me wants to call him and talk to him about this, but it's not. I'm sure there's enough going on in that camp right now about
Sure.
how to do this and what to do this. But I think the general consensus is with the Bon Jovi camp that I think Bon Jovi in the last 10 years has had so many versions of that band. There was one time I went to see them and there was like 12 people on the stage,
Mm.
like between percussion players. As of right now, he has 2 guitar players. He has Phil X and he has John Shanks playing guitar in there too. He's got 2 keyboard players, a couple backup singers, a percussion player, and all this stuff. So I believe that Richie's just going to come play and Phil will get to keep the job.
Mm.
You know,
That would be
I don't
cool.
know. But maybe Richie won't like that. Like Poison, me and Cece are friends, but he's never letting me play guitar on that stage. He's the guitar. He's the guitar player in Poison. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Not in a bad way, but when you go to see Poison, Poison's all 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
And only those 4 guys. And I don't know if Bon Jovi's perceived that way anymore.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I know that the fans will be ecstatic to see Richie on that stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
You know, I don't think they'll care because I think the fans have really accepted Phil. I don't
Mhm.
see a lot of hate for that guy.
No.
He's fucking great. He's great. Like a killer player, a killer singer, a killer personality.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more like the Iron Maiden thing where every member's in the band that ever was or whatever. You know, don't they have like 3 guitar players now? Because they
3. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think it'll be more like that.
See, I think after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing recently with Judas Priest, I think they should do that with KK Downing, and it should be the 3 guitar players now.
In Judas Priest,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. There's enough guitar in Judas Priest that 3 guitars is. Yeah, there's enough guitar.
Exactly.
And I don't know what all the beef is and all those guys. There's a lot of weird stuff, but I mean, Judas Priest, KK was as iconic in Judas Priest to me as, I had the posters of him on the wall. Like,
Yeah, of course.
If he wants to be there, especially now that Glenn can't, right?
Hmm.
Isn't that the case? Glenn can't play.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah. I think he
So
comes out like a couple songs each night.
Right. I believe that and I've seen it with Poison. We all know that there's a history of tension in that band.
Mhm.
You know, Cece and Bret used to hate each other. Now they're the best friends in that band.
Right.
Right. And Bobby and Bret have had fistfights on the stage. I mean, remember in Atlanta, Bobby threw the fucking bass at him. You know what
Yep.
I mean? But when the music starts, at least in Poison, when the music starts, they're brothers.
Yeah.
Right? And I have to believe that's like that with everybody. I have to believe that Rob Halford's out there on that stage and looks over at KK Downing and thinks, whatever the fuck I hate about you, we wrote another thing coming together.
Yeah. I mean,
I have to think that. I need to believe that.
Yeah.
And I need to believe that that's going to happen with Richie and John too. I have to believe it because when I was a kid, the Bon Jovi thing's what sold me. I believed that the story of those guys being 4 kids or 5 kids from the streets of Jersey that were brothers, that was part of what I tried to have in my life.
Mhm.
That was what I wanted my band to be. And
Yeah.
so I have to believe that the love's there, man. I mean, if Dave and Eddie finally put it back together,
Exactly.
and I've told you before, I'm a Hagar fan through and through.
Mhm.
I'm a Hagar fan through and through, and I'm a Roth fan too. What a strange cat. There's no doubt he's a strange cat, but I'm a fan. But I know that they still didn't like each other, right?
Yeah.
Like you hear now that they still did not like each other. But you can
Hmm.
watch hours and hours of YouTube footage, and you can see Eddie and Dave apart from each other. And then
Hmm.
there's these moments, and the magic's there, and they smile at each other. And whether maybe that memory is maybe there's a moment in Ice Cream Man, and they both remember at the same time of playing a backyard party in Pasadena, or maybe during Panama, they remember that they were on top of the world for just a brief
Hmm.
second, but you
Hmm.
see it. You see it in those videos,
You
and there
do. You
still
see it in
was
their
there was
eyes when they look at each
yes,
other.
yeah, there were, and they turned back away instantly, and they fucking hate each other again. But there's moments of love in the music you create, and it has to last for all those guys. It has to. I hope.
Yeah. It's funny too. As you were saying, I was thinking to myself. I remember back in, I guess it was '85 when Roth was out of Van Halen, and the rumors were going around for months and months and months. And back then, you had magazines to go by; it wasn't the internet. And I just
Yeah.
remember always saying to myself, there's no way Van Halen would get rid of Daly or Roth. I just couldn't picture in my mind that they would do that.
Right. Right. I was devastated. I had already fucking drank the Kool-Aid. I was living my life as a devout Van Halener, man. It was I remember thinking, how do I even go on with
Wow.
you know, because I was young and impressionable. In Panama, there was nothing like Panama. When I hear
Hmm.
Panama to this day, it is 1984, and everything's perfect in the world, and Ronald Reagan's president, and everything's fucking great. You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
and but then I got to tell you, man, Yankee Rose came out. I think Yankee Rose came out first, did it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember going, I remember going, oh man, Van Halen can't top this. I remember thinking Yankee Rose was the single best perfectly written rock song in history, with the
Wow.
absolute without with the best video ever made. The video
Right.
was bright and perfect, and there was nothing not cool about that video. When I look back at it now, I think maybe he didn't need to wave his ass on the screen that much, but he did for the girls or whatever, you know. But I remember going, Jesus Christ, man, I don't. I love Eddie Van Halen, but I don't know what he better come with something strong. And then I heard, "Why Can't This Be Love?" And it was so different, and it
Yeah.
was it. But I remember thinking, "Oh, that's better," because I loved it.
Really.
I to this day, "Why Can't This Be Love?" I heard it and I went, "That's special," and that changed things. They that's a new sound.
Hmm.
Yankee Rose sounded like an extension of Van Halen. Like
Yeah.
it could have been what was the next thing after 1984.
Yeah.
5150 was something I'd never fucking heard before.
Yeah.
I did those drum sounds were different.
Hmm.
Whether they were good or bad, it was different. And the voice was different, and the keyboard thing. And I was never an anti-keyboard guy. I I, I wasn't a super new wave fanatic. Like I didn't want keyboards in all my songs, but
Yeah.
I didn't dislike Jump or I'll Wait at all. You know what I mean?
I love I'll Wait. My favorite song on that album.
How great is it? And live when they came back with Roth and reunited with Roth, I remember watching it live, and it was the one that put goosebumps on my arms.
Mm,
The song, I'd never heard it live, because Roth never played it in his solo band. Uh,
right.
he, and and live in that arena that night, that's a very, very powerful, well written song. And who
Hmm.
is the guy who helped write it? It's
Ooh,
oh
I
my
don't know.
god, I always forget. Um, you have to look it up, or I'll look it up later. But it'll blow your mind if you could. Are you near something you can type and look it up real quick?
Yeah, you got me curious now. I got it down.
When you say his
Let's
name,
see.
it'll blow your mind, but it also makes sense. While you're doing, I'm trying to think. It's not Howard Jones. Um, what?
Ready? I got it.
Go
Michael
ahead.
McDonald.
That's right, Michael McDonald. There you go. You didn't
No
think that,
way.
did
I
you?
did not know that. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And it's
Wow.
powerful. What a great. I'm glad you like that song too. It's great.
I love that freaking song. So, well, I guess the last thing for us to talk about, I mean, we could sit and talk about fucking music for all night long. I just wish we had a few beers to go with it. Um,
Right on.
is New Year's Eve, you got a bash going on,
What?
don't you?
Do I?
Didn't I see on your
No.
website? 13th annual?
No.
Or is that old?
Oh. You're talking about my band, Evick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not New Year's Eve. It's the 13th annual. We call it New Year's after New Year's show. I do it.
Oh,
I do it the week after New Year's, but it's still a New Year's Eve party, is what it is.
okay.
And
Okay.
yeah. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Party Girl. I was like, oh man, you just dropped some news on me that I didn't hear yet. Yeah. It's actually we're gonna do it January 14th this year, and it's 13th annual. Might be the 14th annual, but it would have been 14th, but we didn't do it because of COVID.
COVID.
But yeah, I do this. I do a show with my band Evick every year in my hometown, and it's turned into this mini. I'm just saying mini because I'm not comparing myself. Mini version of Sammy Hagar's birthday bash. We have people fly from all over the country, and people come from Canada. I've had people come from Mexico before, and they come and we just party for the weekend, and it all ends with a big giant concert from us. It's my Sammy Hagar influence, but it's my favorite night of the year. I get to bring all these people from that I've met all over the country, and again, Canada and Mexico, to my little hometown, and they experience Manassas. We go out to eat at the local restaurants. You know what I mean? We go out and do other things. I hang out with them all, in different groups, and I show them my hometown, man. And I would get, again, I'm never going to be John Bon Jovi, and I don't think I am John Bon Jovi, but I would give anything to walk the streets of Sayreville with John and hang out and just see the things that made him. And we do that. Me and all my friends from all over the country do that first week in January every year.
Well, whenever I make it back to Manassas, we're going to the Hooters there.
Let's go. Where are you at? Forgive me. You're in Nashville now, but you're from Philly?
Yes.
Right. Yep. So you could get here. You could get here in about 16 hours. It'd be lunchtime. Come on.
It shouldn't take me that long. For hell, what the hell?
What do you travel a lot now? Or
no,
do you stay in
I have not left here since I've been here. I mean, I would love to, but yeah.
Yeah. What keeps you not traveling? Just work, what you're doing, and everything.
Money.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll pay for your plane ticket if you want to come up to our show in January.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It's going to be my son's debut show. He's going to play for his first live performance. And there's a band called Adam and the Metal Hawks opening up for us. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
The lead singer was on The Voice, and they're a Long Island band right now, managed by Twisted Sisters Management. And they've done European tours. They're internet sensation with millions and millions of views on their social media, and they're going to open up for us. If you think you want to come, I will buy your plane ticket if you want to come up.
All right. Well, maybe we'll talk. Let me do that.
All right.
Look at you. You're a mad. You're a fucking madman.
That's what I want to hear. All right, brother. I'm grateful for your time again, man. It's one thing to come onto somebody's show the first time, but when you're asked to come on the second time, that means we're friends,
dude. I'm telling you, I was out here. I don't give a shit. I tell the truth or whatever I do. I fucking outdoor dashing the other day, and Dave calls me up and he's like, "Yo, you want to have Pete on?" And he's been trying to get me to have a couple of his other artists on, and I just haven't had time. As soon as he said, "Yo, you want to have Pete on?" I said, "Yeah." What day? What day? What time? Like,
right. I appreciate it, man. One day we're gonna do it in person, though.
Oh fuck yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll have a real good time then. All right, give your plugs. Where should everybody find you at? Where's the best place?
Just To be honest with you, just type my name in Instagram or Facebook, and it'll come up. And most importantly, all seriousness, check out those Party Girl dates, the Bret Michaels
Mhm.
Party Girl dates. It's going to be a once in a lifetime experience. Hopefully, not a once in a lifetime experience, because hopefully it's going to work and we're going to do it every year. But it's the maiden voyage of something brand new and fresh, and just check it out, man. Come out. Bret did everything he could to keep the tickets at a reasonable price for everybody, and it you gotta, if you don't like Bret Michaels Band, you gotta fucking like Night Ranger. If you don't like Night Ranger, you gotta like us. If you don't like us both already, so there's something there for everybody. And if you don't like either of us, then
Absolutely.
you fucking probably like Sugar Ray. And if you don't like those Journey songs, then I don't want you there anyway. So
Exactly. You'll deserve to be there then.
yeah, right. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much, and thank you, buddy. And get
Thanks,
that
Pete.
plane ticket. Tell me, and we'll see you in January.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you.
Take care.